What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So, in today's video, we will be going over the Harris-Walz economic policy plan that they released a few days ago. I just noticed this after doing the previous video about the vibes and stuff. About the campaign and the elections and stuff, the election going on, how the vibes have shifted and stuff like that. And I kind of mentioned that so far Harris hadn't put any kind of policies out, and I was expecting it to be at the DNC where she was lay out more policies and stuff. But actually, here just a few days before, she actually did release an economic policy thing. So we're going to go over that and look at what's in it and talk about it. So yeah, let's get. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, like, share, all that good stuff. Helps me out a ton, and yeah, and helps build this community, this channel, so we can have more people engaging and talking about all these issues, and we can get some clear talk about it, right? So thank you very much, and let's get to it. Let me flip over here to the layout. Um, Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can read. Okay, a little better. All right, so this was released on the 16th. So I guess Friday. Um, the Vice President Harris lays out agenda to lower costs for American families. So today, Vice President Kamala is announcing several proposals for her first 100 days in office to bring down costs for American families. The steps announced today will cut costs for the middle class, reduce grocery costs, take on price gouging, lowering the cost of owning and renting a home, continue to bring down the cost of prescription drugs, and relieve medical debts for millions of Americans. These bold actions will address some of the sharpest pain points American families are confronting and bolster their financial security. These proposals are just one part of the Vice President's economical plan, which also includes protecting and strengthening Social Security and Medicare, bringing together labor, small businesses, and major corporations to invest in America, create jobs, and deliver for Americans, lowering costs of education, child care, long-term care, empowering workers in their right to come together to bargain for higher wages, creating a stable business environment with constant and transparent rules, encouraging innovative technologies while protecting consumers, and so much more. Vice President Harris has made clear that building up the middle class will be a defining goal of her presidency. She will deliver for Americans who are demanding a new way forward towards a future that lifts up all Americans so that they can not just get by, but get ahead. Good rhetoric. Sounds good. So apparently this is just like kind of like the first part of an economic plan that she plans on that she's putting out. I'm assuming they're still working on all these policies to reveal uh, behind the because this is all moving so fast for her and her team. And whatever, and although this is technically still Biden's team that just transferred over to her, I feel like her agenda and what she wants to go into as a presidency is going to be a little bit different from Biden. So there's probably a lot of things that she's actually changing. Whatever they previously had built up for Biden, some of it will probably transfer, but other sections, very much are probably different. So they're probably trying to work all that out. Giving them the benefit of the doubt um, on all that. Um, but anyways, so here we go. Build an American dream, lowering the cost of renting and owning a home. So we're Vice President Harris knows that our nation's housing affordability crisis is making it hard for tens of millions of Americans to make ends meet while putting the American dream of ownership out of reach for too many working families. That's why she will launch an urgent and comprehensive 4-year plan to lower housing costs for working families and end America's household shortage. So one calling for the construction of 3 million new housing units to end the housing supply shortage in the next 4 years. All right. There's a serious house shortage in America and it's driving prices up. Vice President Harris will work in partnership with industry to build the housing we need, both to rent and to buy, and to take down barriers that stand in the way of building new housing. Although my understanding of the new housing issue has a lot to do with the rates and stuff. That I mean, the Federal Reserve is looking at lowering down, little by little. I think they're waiting on the next, because we just had a financial statement released, showing the um, showing that we were, having the oh my goodness, my mind's blank. Um, that things are coming down as far as like um, inflation. Sorry, inflation numbers. My goodness, my word was blinking. Inflation numbers are coming down a little bit, but it looks like they, instead of going ahead and making a move on lowering interest rates, they're waiting for the next financial statement to come out this month. And if it continues the trend, 2 months of, we're lowering on like under 3% or something, um, then they will look at dropping interest rates starting in September. So a lot of that will help. And if they do, which they should have already started dropping them. But if they do start dropping the insurance, I mean the rates and stuff, then that will start to um, help housing and stuff as far as financing to have them built and all that kind of stuff. It will help that. That will give some relief. So we should even see that start happening even before any of this. But she's just uh, basically promising to push it and make it even more. I'm assuming that's what the idea is. It's just calling that she will uh, help in funding that or whatever, or pushing policies or whatever. I'm assuming to make that happen. First ever tax incentive for building starter homes. So they're going to do. Will propose a first-time tax incentive for home builders who build starter homes sold to first-time buyers. I don't know that it states it here. Yeah, it's down. Okay, it's a little bit further down. Um, so yeah, first-time tax incentive for starting homes. A historic expansion of the existing tax incentive for businesses that build rental housing that is affordable. A federal fund to spur innovative housing construction. They're proposing a new 40 billion in innovative funding fund, doubling down on the 20 million that the Biden and Harris administration proposed innovation fund. So she's doubling that. Um, the red the cut red tape and needless bureaucracy. These plans will build on the Biden Harris administration's efforts to cut red tape and enable more home building to bring down housing costs, which have advanced to record levels of new home construction. Lowering the rent for hardworking Americans by taking on corporate and major landlords. By stop Wall Street investors from building up and marking up homes in bulk. Stop renting, setting data firms from price fixing to raise rents by double digits. Um, so like I said, it all sounds good, but put into action, we don't know. Providing historic $25,000 down payment support for first-time homeowners. So many Americans work hard at their jobs, save and pay their rent on time month after month, but they can't save enough for paying their rent and other bills to save for a down payment, denying them a shot at owning a home. So they're going to assist provide working families who have paid their rent on time for 2 years and are buying their first home up to 25,000 in down payment assistance, with more generous support for first generation homeowners. Initial proposal providing 25,000 in down payment assistance only for 400,000 first generation homeowners or home buyers whose parents don't own a home, and a $10,000 credit for first time home buyers. That was the initiative under the Biden Harris. So she's expanding on that a little bit, uh, providing an average of 25,000 versus the 10,000. Um, so here they're, I guess she's they're here's where they're differencing themselves from Trump. Trump likes to talk about being a builder, but when he was president, he simply never got it done. Now, this his Project 25 agenda will make it more expensive to rent or buy homes as a landlord. Trump used underhanded tactics to evict tenants from his properties, and he was sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination. Year after year during his presidency, Trump tried to gut rent assistance programs. New home construction slowed down while Trump was in office, tightening the housing crunch and enabling his wealthy friends to profit. More housing units have been under construction every month with the Biden-Harris administration than during any month in Trump's presidency. The 25 agenda will raise millions of Americans' home a mortgage cost with just one proposal increase cost. Well, with just one proposal increasing cost around 1,200 a year. A few people, the few people better off under the agenda, the wealthy investors who spent time in the Mar-a-Lago line. They're all right. So, uh, all right, lowering the cost of the prescription drugs and relieving medical debt. All right, now we're going on into uh, so the housing thing sounds good. Um, basically, just trying to make it better on housing, make it more affordable to buy a house. Trying to put a little pressure on the renting landscape. Um, Try to prevent, from especially on the corporate side. It looks like Wall Street investors and stuff like that from buying up, a bunch of properties and then marketing them, marking up the houses in bulk and stuff like that. Instead of it being a little bit more on an individual space, they'll like mark up a whole area or something, um, which makes all the prices of the houses go up. Um, Lowering the cost of prescription drugs and relieving medical debt. So cap the cost of insulin at $35, and out-of-pocket expenses for prescription drugs at $2,000 for everyone, not just seniors. Accelerate the speed of Medicare negotiations over prescription drugs. Building on the Biden-Harris administration worked to allow Medicare to negotiate the prices of prescription drugs and cut the cost of some of the most expensive and most commonly used drugs by nearly 40 to 80% starting in 2026. Harris will allow Medicare to accelerate the speed of negotiations so the prices of more drugs come down faster. So I guess she's just trying to speed up that process, is what her promise is. It will increase competition and demand transparency in the healthcare industry, starting by cracking down on pharmaceutical companies who block competitive and abusive practices by pharmaceutical middlemen who squeeze small pharmacy profits and raise costs for consumers. Vice President Harris and Walz will also work with states to cancel medical debt for millions of Americans. And to help them avoid accumulating such debt in the future, because no one should go bankrupt just because they had the misfortune of becoming sick or hurt. This plan builds on Vice President Harris's leadership in removing medical debt from nearly all American credit reports and in helping secure American Rescue Plan funds to cancel $7 billion in medical debt for up to 3 million Americans. Because medical debt is the largest um, reason for bankruptcy in the United States. It's the number one reason that millions of Americans go bankrupt every year, is due to medical debt. So they're working on now, and you have already in multiple states, like over 30 states or so that already have stuff on the books to help with uh, medical debt and stuff. Um, I'm sorry, never mind. I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about something else. Um, so what they're going to do is help with states canceling medical debt, working with the states, just like Walz did in Minnesota. He basically took on the bought the medical debt um, for pennies on the dollar or whatever, uh, and then just wiped it clean um, from buying out all the medical debt in his state and freeing up all that debt for citizens in his state. They're basically taking that idea and they want to work it across all states um, in the country. Um, Sounds great. I hope it actually. That's probably the most one of the most important ones on this list because that affects a lot of people. Um, and it's the first step to helping our poorly crafted medical system that needs to be completely revamped. Um, and This is a whole for-profit issue is privatizing everything. It's ruining our medical system. Trump wants to terminate the Affordable Care Act and go back to the time when 100 million Americans with pre-existing conditions like cancer, diabetes, asthma can be denied coverage. Um, Reverse the victories over big pharma in the Inflation Reduction Act and remove the cap on insulin and drug prices costs for seniors. Uh, so that's where they're trying to differentiate themselves again. Um, I don't know whether or not the Trump plan is to completely terminate the Affordable Care, but they most certainly want to gut it a lot, from what I understand, which would probably affect all of this. But there are a lot of people in the Republican Party that would love to completely terminate it. Lower grocery costs. That's our next big thing. Um, so, Vice President Harris knows that raising food prices remain a top concern for American families. Many big grocery chains that have seen production costs level off have nevertheless kept prices high and have seen their highest profits in 2 decades. While some food companies have passed along those savings, others still have not. So that's why President Harris will work to enact a plan in the first 100 days, advance the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food and groceries, set clear rules of the road to make clear set clear rules of the road to make clear that big corporations can't unfairly exploit consumers to run up excessive profits on food and groceries, secure new authority for the FTC and state attorneys general to investigate and impose strict new penalties on companies that break the rules. All right. So this is the one that's real big as far as the Republicans, I think, lashing back on, um, trying to say that she's trying to price fix uh, food and groceries and stuff. That's not what she's trying to do. It's about the price gouging part, where in certain circumstances or whatever, they're doubling, tripling, or more, throwing up prices on food and stuff that people need, you know, 200-300% or more or whatever, and just because and blaming it on demand, which should not be the case, especially in some type of crisis period or something. That should just not be. I mean, personally, for me, there shouldn't be price gouging at any point. I understand, a free market where you can, you have the ability to flex your, pricing based on actual, like, market ups and downs and price and demand and whatnot. I get that, but to be able to just uh, double, triple, or more, prices on foods and things like that, just because of some type of crisis situation or a natural issue that is out of the hands of everybody, should not allow companies to just raise those prices in order to get their gains, because they know there's a high demand on it, um, for it, or because whatever the case. Um, so this, in my opinion, is a good thing and help keep you know companies from taking advantage of situations, uh, and making it hard on American people, uh, pay for food and stuff, which is our necessities. Um, so I'm okay with it. Uh, there certainly there needs to be more of a ban on just on price gouging on more than just food and groceries. I think like there should be some high. Uh, there should be no price gouging period on any type of, in my opinion. Uh, and I'm not saying that, like, that, and this is not to say that there should be price fixing on stuff. It's just that if a company is found to be price gouging for no like legitimate reason, it should be investigated by the attorney general and whatnot. Whoever within the states investigate it. If they find that it's being gouged for no reason to take advantage of American people or whatever the citizens of that area, then they most certainly should be scrutinized and given penalties for that, and try to put pressure on companies to not do that. It's just simple. But if you don't have that there, if you don't have, if you're not enforcing, even though we probably already have some types of laws or rules against it, if you don't push to enforce those rules and laws, then and help to regulate that, then you're not gonna the companies are not going to hold to it. They're going to just continue to do whatever they want, and that's the point. That's the point in regulation. You know, I don't. It, Nothing needs to be over regulated, but you do have to have some sort of regulation across the board, to help make sure that companies stay in line, on all fronts, uh, and are not taking advantage from any side, whether it's um, uh, price, cost demand towards the customers, quality towards the customers, economic, environmental, you know, uh, uh, issues or whatever, harming the environment or what. It needs to be that all companies need to be held to a standard, a certain standard, and not allowed to just do whatever they want. So, cutting taxes for the middle class with up to 6,000 tax credit per child. So, um, this is where he's wanting to cut taxes for the middle class families with kids. The vice president will restore the American Rescue Plan. It expanded the tax credit previously during like the COVID area. Um, that will provide up to 3,600 per child tax credit for middle class. So basically, like under 6 year old will be up to 3,600. Over 6 years old, is like at 3,000, which currently is 2,000. But then also a new 6,000 child credit for families with children in the first year of life. So a newborn, the first year of a newborn, your a family will have be allowed a $6,000 child credit. to help with that first year of expenses, which is probably one of the most expensive, you know, overall, with diapers, food, all that kind of all those things that is the hardest for families, and it also what prevents a lot of people, not just the first year. I mean, it's like there's more than just cost, but cost is a big thing, for a lot of families that decide not to have children or postpone having children or whatever. Um, this could help with that, or all of this could help with that. Um, and then tax credits for frontline workers. They will expand the earned income tax credit to cover individuals and couples in low income jobs who aren't raising a child in their home, cutting their taxes up to $1,500. Tax cut taxes to help Americans afford health insurance on the Affordable Care Act marketplace, saving an average of $700 on their health insurance premiums, totaling over $6,000 per year in savings, uh, which Trump wants to repeal. Uh, True. So Donald Trump is running on a promise to give another billionaire tax break to his ultra wealthy friends. His plan will give billionaires a tax handout of 3.5 million apiece each year, give big corporations a 1.5 trillion waterfall, and make it easier for wealthy tax cheats to avoid paying what they owe. Meanwhile, earlier this summer, JD didn't even show up to vote to cut taxes for middle class families, which is true. JD has recently proposed that he is in support of a $5,000 tax credit, across the board. Which, don't get me wrong, sounds great, and you could argue is better than what she is, you know, pushing for. Um, but just earlier this summer, there was a bill to expand the tax credit. Um, uh, I think back up to like the like put the tax credit back up to the American Rescue Plan, like implement that tax credit back in place. And he did not even show up to vote on that. He was just absent. So if he did, that's the argument that they're making. If you did care about, like you say you do, then why didn't you show up to vote for that, you know, that that plan, which I think ultimately did not pass, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will work with businesses, entrepreneurs, workers, and all stakeholders to drive our economy. Um, that creates opportunity and ensures stability and security for everyone. They believe competition is the lifeblood of our economy, and they will build the confidence and certainty that helps businesses innovate and grow. They'll also fulfill their commitment to fiscal responsibility, including by asking the wealthiest Americans and largest corporations to pay their fair share, steps that will allow us to make necessary investments in the middle class while also reducing the deficit and strengthening our fiscal health. Trump added a record amount to the national debt during his term, and now he and Vance are running to exact political retribution, attack the rule of law, undermine the independence of the Federal Reserve and other regulators, approve these investments, disrupt global markets, and leave American communities behind. All right, so um, yes, this is, like I said, what she's released so far. Trying to hit, I think, like the big, or what they consider the biggest economic issues for Americans and what their concerns are, on the economy, which is child care, um, and the child tax credit, our grocery costs. That's a big issue for a lot of people. The prices of food is so high. Our medical debt, prescription drugs. That's a big issue. And of course, our home and housing market is a complete mess. Hard to rent, expensive to rent, hard to buy or build, um, expensive to build, and all these issues are well, at least that and the cost of food, um, uh, is related to the um, inflation. So there's a lot of things that go into that. A lot of this will help alleviate it, but there's still substantial like things that need to happen to get that back in line. That goes beyond this clearly, but this is the first. This is some pretty good first steps. Um, and hopefully, she'll hold to it. And even in some places, hopefully, go further. Uh, I'm hopeful for it. It sounds good. I'd like to see more, but I'm not, one of these is like, oh, you didn't go far enough, so I hate it. You're not good enough for me. Sometimes it takes baby steps. You do little by little, implement little bitty things, let people realize that it's not just gonna tear the country apart to do these things. Um, and then you know, because oftentimes the biggest thing that is argued is how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? And you give them a way of paying for it, and they're like, oh, but that's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. And it's just like an automatic default to this is going to cost something, so we're not going to get behind it. Um, but oftentimes, when you really do the research and look into it, a lot of times, when you spend money in certain areas to eliminate issues on American people, then they can turn around and spend money in areas that they normally wouldn't be able to, which in turn also helps the economy. So a lot of times, it's like, and and it all helps balance things out. Or you wind up saving, like say in the medical field, the argument against Medicare for all, about it would cost a lot to do it. Uh, In the long run, it would actually save money for America for the government because you would cut out a lot of the administrative cost and everything else because you've now made it a more streamlined process because there's only one thing handling, you know, uh, the medical field. So I mean, it's when it comes to medical insurance. I mean, so and the cost. So it's in every other developed country, majorly developed country in the world already has that. We are the only country, developed country, and like we like to argue, we're the biggest and most richest country, but yet we don't make sure to provide medical um, coverage to all of our citizens, and we have a fully or mostly privatized health system, um, and that's just as far as insurance and stuff, and it's just where they can, there's not really as enough competition, or they're all in cahoots to just raise prices and make money. It's the system's about making a profit instead of helping Americans with their health and helping make Americans healthier. It's all about making a buck. And if you cut that out and push, build a system more around actual, health, and um, you wind up overall over time with a healthier country, healthier populace, um, which is what I think the majority of Americans would like. Your big, uh, health industry, pharmaceutical industry, and all that don't want that because that cuts into their bottom line, into their profit margins. But um, I don't care. So yeah, this sounds good. Hopefully, we wait to see whether or not, of course, she has to get into office. But if she did, wait to see whether or not she can help implement it. It's basically a lot of it is taking what she's already kind of developed with Biden, but in many instances, taking it a step further, uh, kicking it up a little bit, making it a little bit spicier. Um, where Biden's plan was basically kind of bland. She's trying to spice it up a little bit in some areas, make it a little bit more palatable, make it a little bit more uh, appealing to American people. And that's what she should be doing. And I hope she continues to. Uh, it feels like she's, at least in some degree, actually realizing what people really want and what they really want to see, what they keep asking for, and the Democratic Party just kind of throws out a little nugget here and a little nugget there, dropping half-witted policy and like direct things at it, but not actually giving American people what they're asking for or what their base is asking for. And she's at least seems to be recognizing, and hopefully with the help of Tim Walz, even more so, will be recognizing more of these things and pushing in a little bit more of the direction of the actual base, and not so much in the direction of you know where the money is. So, anyways, that's her the what she released Friday. Sounds good. Like I said, we'll have to see how it goes. I'm looking for maybe some more stuff to be, released in different areas over the DNC, like I said, and hopefully we will get that. And if it does, then we'll go over that as well. But thank you very much. Hope you liked what we discussed here. Let me know what you think. Do you think these sound good? Do you think something goes too far, not far enough? Is it going to completely crash our country? Whatever. Let me know what you think. And yeah, remember to subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. And until next time, Clear Talk. I'm out.